dudes, dudettes, how's it hanging? My name is Sean and welcome back to another Cyberpunk 2077 video. So in the last video I said it has been confirmed that a few large YouTubers have been granted special access come E3 2019. The most notable among them is Yang Ye and our good friend Legacy Killer HD. I will attempt to explain the gravity of this decision made by CDPR and how it has much wider and far-reaching implications than you may have originally thought. So before we start the rant, so let me just go ahead and just rip the band-aid off real quick and let's just get it out of the way. It says CDPR confirms Cyberpunk 2077 won't be playable at E3 2019, but anyone at the show can go along to the Cyberpunk 2077 booth and check the game out. So let's just go ahead and say that at worst it means that there's nothing huge to reveal at E3. Doesn't mean that there's not a 2019 release date. Just kind of means that all the leaks about E3 might not be true, you know, as most times, sometimes leaks are obviously not real, you know, but it also could mean that it's a diversion tactic. And hear me out, I mean, they could, with all these leaks happening and all this sort of negative press about CDPR, this could be just a way to circumvent expectations, you know, and just be like, oh, there's nothing there, blah blah blah, and then boom, they surprise you. But normally there's a listing. If there's like a big placeholder for something, there's a listing for it, you know what I mean? Like that you'll know that there's something to do, but not always. Sometimes it's a hard thing to say, you know. But if we're just taking it on face value, it looks like, you know, there's not anything spectacular to be shown. But now if you go to the booth, there could be stuff like, you know, look at all the stuff that we've done since the last gameplay reveal. There's also going to be a private showing, you know, that we're going to talk about, and there could be all kinds of stuff. No, I don't claim to be an expert at any sort of E3 marketing type of shit, you know. It's just me throwing my ideas out there, and I don't know. Either way, you know, I've always said that I hope they take as long as they need to for this game, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I just feel like since that just came out this morning, I feel like I'd add this edit into the video, and I guess let's go ahead and get on with the rest of it, right? Let's go ahead and dive into what I mentioned yesterday real quick, just for, you know, context sake. Oh, I can't speak today, guys, I'm sorry. Now, first off, how could you not invite the Neon Arcade? Cough cough. Yeah. But in all seriousness though, the reason why this is so significant is because I'd say that this small pool of highly influential tubers is probably one of the best they could have grabbed, even though it is small. It could grow, but I mean, right now we got just this to work on. They are often, you know, these tubers are often tough on cash-grabby types of games and other corrupt gaming companies, and often they don't have to hold CDPR's feet to the fire because they constantly prove that they are consumer-friendly time and time again, which also goes to show, like I said in the previous video, that these tough tubers don't complain for the sake of outrage like the media would have you believe. They are literally the mouthpiece of hardcore and sometimes even casual gamers, and will give credit where credit is due, which is a huge blow to the corrupt gaming industry's propaganda that we gamers are just too toxic and mad for the sake of being mad about every single game, when that's just not the case. Good games get good coverage, bad games get bad coverage. It's the way it is. It's a capitalist society, right? And as I say in that last video, verbatim, is that it couldn't possibly be, oh no, it definitely couldn't be the over-monetization of games that you have to spend 3 times over the launch price just to enjoy it in its entirety. Nah, that couldn't be it, could it? So no. Let's rant about this, right? Alright, but in serious thought, in essence, this is why CDPR selection is more important than it seems on the surface. These group of tubers that they've gathered, right? Just stay with me and hear me out, because this is really the industry in a nutshell, and CDPR is, you know, pretty much taking them on, you know, like single-handedly, with only us consumers in their corner. You see, most every developer's game that has garnished such hyped proportions as games like Cyberpunk 2077 would often, you know, historically speaking, invite a crap ton of huge gaming tubers to showcase their game to try to make it as visible to as many as possible, which translates into many sales as possible, right? Nothing wrong with that per se, but many don't vet their invitees, at least not properly. This inevitably leads them to, for a lack of a better word, whoring out their game to anyone and everyone. They often showcase a tiny controlled aspect of the game for tubers to see or play, or sometimes even flat out give the game to them early and then say, go forth and hype this up for us. Then many tubers with any sort of ethics will come out and often call the game out for the false hype or shady integrations, while other falsely, you know, fanboys drum up false excitement that tend to fall flat on its face come release, right? But this has been the status quo so far with these companies. No, I mean, dare I say, the cornerstone of this greedy corporate marketing in the gaming industry for at least, you know, the last decade or longer. And all this only serves to hype whatever game all the way up to huge proportions beyond what the game actually is at the end of the day come launch. And if you don't believe me, I urge you just to take a quick stroll back down memory lane. I mean, we have seen this so many, countless times before. One of the most current and infamous, at least to me, was Jurassic World Evolution. And then we have EA's Star Wars Battlefront, No Man's Sky, Fallout 76, and really, if I am to be frank about it, just about every AAA game out there in recent memory, besides CDPR, indie devs, and maybe even Rockstar, arguably, even though they have had their own, you know, history of hype fails, but still a better track record than most. It's like an upside down triangle where all the hype of what the game is thought to be is at the top 3/4 of the huge upside down pyramid, and at the bottom is compromised of what the game actually is, which, come to find out, oftentimes isn't what it was hyped up to be. Eventually the game will fall over because it can't support its own fake weight. Now, many people would say, well, you know, a lot of these YouTubers, maybe even like yourself, Sean, you guys hype up these games. You guys hype up these games. Really, at the end of the day, all a company would have to do is just release a statement, you know, clarifying certain things. But they don't. They like speculation. They like hype. That's what keeps games alive. But it's when they don't put a cap on it and they just let it keep going and they don't correct things. You know, every company does this. Every single one. I mean, who cares if 1/5 of the player base falls off 1 week after launch, right? We got their money and all the microtransactions from the remaining but dwindling 1/4 of the player base. And then the next release comes, and all the companies have finally, only within the last few years, found out that the player base that left that 1 week in on that previous game, yeah, they didn't come back. They used to come back, and they used to say, okay, maybe this game will be better. And now subsequent titles, they don't come back. They didn't buy your next release. Oh crap, right? And you used to use the same tactic again. Oof. Oof. And it's this tactic that started to get old, and the fans are listening to tubers like Legacy Killer and Yongye, who actually won't stand for these anti-consumer tactics. Companies like EA, compared to their former glory at the top of the industry, now seems to be virtually on life support because of these tactics. I know there are, you know, many nuances to every situation, but this is, in a nutshell, everyone does this. Every freaking company except one, CD Projekt Red. Now, I understand that they don't have any corporate overlords, you know, any parent company to bow to, and that makes it a little easier to be more consumer friendly. But seeing as they don't have a parent company to fund them in the between times of different launches, you would think that they would be even more greedy, in need of these shady tactics to pour in huge amounts of cash flow to sustain themselves. But as we just broke down previously, it's only a short-term success, and the long-term implications are much more dire. So CDPR just don't do that. You know, not to be too over dramatic, but I feel in a metaphorical sense that CDPR has stared the corrupt industry in the face, standing between us and them. CDPR has excuse me, can't talk today. CDPR has definitely drawn the line separating greed from themselves. And on that line in the sand, On the side of CDPR, they are surrounded by us, the consumers. So when the information surfaced of who would be invited, and I seen of who was on the list, I instantly knew for a fact that what they had to showcase to them was of the highest quality, both development-wise and marketing-wise. And trust me on this. I mean, if you're going to invite Yang and Legacy Killer HD into your den to analyze or give away a copy of your game that has garnered this much attention, you are either stupid or you're CDPR, a company who's 100% consumer friendly, because they know that this game is not going to be an overhyped, crap fest. These two especially will let you know that in the first week of playing, if not day one, if it's that evident. CDPR is showing us that the game they have created, they actually believe in. They trust that they can give it to the toughest critics, and this game will come out on top. This further solidifies that this company truly wants to do the right thing. I mean, I'd be fine if they were just doing the right thing just because it was a correct marketing schematic and nothing else, but I feel that they really have tried to make something special here for players' entertainment, and entertainment value alone, not just, greedy monetary gain. That will come as a consequence of creating something that is so genuine, right? And that is, in and of itself, will provide them with overflowing bank accounts left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna have to ship some stuff in Switzerland, you know what I mean? But it's working. It really is. This is the brilliance of CDPR. And if you ever take your horse down to the Old Town Road, and then smack that like and subscribe if you're new, and until next time, piss off.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and